All right, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the Dunk Talk Podcast, episode 55. I'm your host, Dylan Haugen, 5'11 dunker from Minnesota. Me and our co-host here, Hunter, we're just in Florida for a huge dunk session with a lot of guys, and we're going to be breaking it down today. So, Hunter, introduce yourself, then we'll get right into it, guys.
Yeah, guys, I'm Hunter Castona, 6'1" dunker from Wisconsin. Like you said, we had a session in Florida, and we're gonna get right into it. So, Dylan, if you want to get started.
Yeah, guys, so just a little background on the session. This was my spring break for me, so I knew that I was going to Florida, just to like spend time with family, just family vacation, whatever. And I figured while I'm out there, I dunk every week. Why not dunk with Isaiah, right? Because I knew he lived in Florida. So I texted him. He said that he would be down for a session. And I knew that Hunter and Dom had gone to Florida last year to train with those guys like John and Isaiah and them. So I asked them, like, or I told them that I would be there this given week. And like, if you're thinking about going again, try to go this week so we can get a big session, obviously. So that was like the best case scenario at the time. Thought like, if we can get all of them there, that'd be really cool. And eventually that worked out. So they were able to go and Josh added himself in there. And then slowly a bunch more people just like, I don't know if it was like for spring break or whatever, but a bunch of people were in Florida and they were all able to make it. So, I mean, I don't want to try to name everyone because I'm probably going to forget some people, but like I know it was me. Actually, let's try to name everyone. All right, ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Me, you, Isaiah, Dom, RJ, Nate,
Austin,
Josh, Austin, Cam, that's 10, Vic, Artem, Hunter,
Josh, another Dylan,
another Josh, another Dylan. And then what was it? Who was the dude that stayed with you? What's his name again?
Josh.
No, 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 the other one.
What do you mean other one?
Oh, wait, that's his name. All right, whatever. Anyway,
I said there's two Joshes.
bro, I feel like we're forgetting like one person.
There's that one. I don't know what his name is. He was in the red shirt. He was getting lobbed from people. I forget who he
Oh,
was.
his name is Jalen.
Jalen.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
remember
to
because I did
him.
all the Instagram stuff. Oh yeah, and then Davis as well. So that even might be more than 17. I don't know, but it was a lot of guys,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Also, one other thing is he wasn't able to make it, but Donovan Hawkins was coming originally as well.
Yeah, that would
Because
have been
we talked
crazy.
to because me and Dom
Imagine Donovan
me,
on that rim,
Dom,
bro.
and Dylan were talking obviously, and then all of a sudden Josh and Donovan got brought into it, and like he's like, yeah, I can go, whatever. And then he had an event before this one, and then his work wasn't able to give him off, or I don't know if he was, or I think he was just like, yeah, I just got to work. I was just like, all right. But
Yeah,
yeah, that would have been crazy to have him there too. But unfortunately, obviously, it didn't work out. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I'm still very happy with all the people. Did we say Cam, by the way?
I think I did. If
But
I
if
didn't,
not,
I
Cam
meant
was there
to.
too. Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, a lot of guys there. So it was a really, really fun session. So and it was some people I've never seen before. So that was also really fun to see. And
exactly.
there was guys that I've never seen dunk well just because they were fatigued or it wasn't a good cycle or whatever that dunked very well, like Isaiah, Austin, RJ, stuff like that. So more people like that. So it was really, really cool to see them jumping high because last year when I went, they all didn't jump very well. Like basically everybody in that session didn't jump very well. So it
Yeah,
was good to see all of them come back and be healthy and also be fresh for this session. So a lot of guys were actually really, really fresh for this session as well. I think a majority of people, obviously Dom was got injured. I got injured. I don't really know if there's anybody else that was like really like that was fatigued or anything like that. I'm not really sure.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a really good session. Everybody went off, so really really fun time.
Yeah, definitely. I'll kind of walk through my like preparation or like training leading up to it, and then you can do yours, and then we'll obviously get into the actual session. So for me, I hadn't deloaded in like 7 weeks or something like that. And then I did like a mini deload. Literally wasn't even really a deload. I just took out like my cleaning and all that. And I had my really good session in Winona where I hit like under both and just jumped really high, east bay off the backboard, elbow, all that stuff. So that was, my good session basically. And then the rest of the time was kind of building up for that Florida session. That was February 14th. And then the Florida session was March something. I don't know. It was basically a month later, actually. So Yeah, basically just leading up to that, I did a lot of stuff, and then the week before I deloaded, and then the week of I didn't do anything, but I was like, with my family during spring break on vacation, and then we were at like the Disney parks for a couple days, and we walked a ton. Like, I mean, I walked 10 or more miles a day, 3 days before. So I had like over 30 plus miles on my legs leading up to the day of. All I was able to do was ISOs. Um, and I still did pretty good. So Hunter can obviously get into his, and then I'll kind of explain a little bit more background on the session.
Yeah, so obviously, like you said, he was kind of not I wouldn't say unprepared just because I mean it kind of was just because he was at Disney. For basically he was walking around every single day, like you said. So that's putting a lot of stress on his body, and he still jumped very well, so very glad about that. But for me, um, wasn't having really any like crazy training or anything like that. Like beforehand, I was doing insane intensity, insane volume, so wasn't anything like crazy, crazy. But I was doing a bunch of squats, cleans, calf raises, stuff like that, accessory work. So doing a lot of that, and I wasn't dunking the best. Like the week before that session, I had probably one of my worst sessions ever. Like it was not even close to being a good session, whatever. I don't even think I got a windmill in. I got like couple one-handers, wasn't even punching anything. So I was like very, very worried about that. But also with that is I was in a gym that was completely empty. There's nobody at all. It was completely silent, nobody there. It was at like 9 something at night. Um, and I didn't have caffeine, nothing. So it was obviously very late in the day. And then also I had two photography bookings before that as well. So I had one at like, I don't even know what it was. It was at like five or not five. I think it was at like, actually it might have been five. I don't remember exactly, but it was pretty late. It was probably like 4 or 5 ish. And then I had another one at 7. And the gym that I was going to also had a basketball tournament. Um, I think from like 7 to 7. So like I couldn't even get in beforehand either because all courts were being taken up. So I had to dunk at 9 o'clock at night because that's when my booking got done. So by the time I was done with that, I had to go to the session. I felt very slow. Like I wasn't like tired or anything like that, but I just knew it wasn't going to be a very good session because none of the things aligned at all whatsoever. So um, I know like I was still worried because I just had a terrible dunk session, but at the same time, like everything about it was just it led to the worst session ever. Um, because I did so much stuff that day. It was so late in the day, empty gym, no adrenaline at all. Um, but yeah, and then obviously we have the session, and I mean leading up to it, I kind of deloaded a little bit, so I lifted on. I want to say I lifted on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which one. And then Wednesday, Thursday, didn't do anything. Just did ISOs. And then me and Dom kind of did like a little stretching thing and stuff like that. So nothing like too crazy. So I kind of took time off of lifting and whatever. I mean, obviously still do the ISOs and stuff like that so I could still stay fresh. But and then leading into the session I would say felt pretty decent. And then Dylan, if you want to hop into how you felt for the session and everything like that, and then I'll do mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, going into the session, I obviously do not feel my best. The thing about walking and just any type of cardio for me, I experienced this again like this weekend session because I ran like a mile and a half on Thursday and then had a dunk on Saturday, which is not ideal. And that was also not voluntary, just something we had to do for school or whatever. So it's like my legs aren't sore, so it's not like I'm like sore and just like feeling like dead, like, can't get out of bed or whatever. Um, but it was just like it's a weird feeling to explain. My legs just feel like tired, basically. That's what it felt like. Warming up for the session, did not feel the greatest. Started to jump a little bit, felt pretty good. Part of that is definitely adrenaline plus caffeine plus the rim feeling good. And then we talked about it a little bit earlier today. Is just like if your warm ups feel good, your session normally goes well. So that was kind of how it went for me. Obviously, Hunter, you can speak on that, and then we get into the session, obviously.
Yeah, so I mean, going into it like the day of, we didn't really do anything too crazy. Me, Dom, Dylan, or not Dylan, sorry. Me, Dom, Josh, and Nate. We were all staying at Josh's house, so we didn't do anything too crazy. we ended up going to um what do you call it? We ended up going to John's house. So we went there beforehand. And then I don't because I think it was like we had some traffic issues too. So we were just like, do we go somewhere down there and just chill for a little bit, or do we wait and drive down there? But we ended up going to a mall, like I think like 5 minutes away. Um, but it took us like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, I think, something like that. And so we just walked around the mall, just went in the stores and whatever, just basically walked around for 45 minutes or whatever. So nothing like too crazy, but it was just getting us loose because we were also in the car for, like I said, like an hour and a half. So obviously we don't want to be pulling up to the session right when we're getting out of the car. That's kind of what like our idea was. So that's why we got up, walked around and stuff like that. We felt pretty good. And then obviously we get to the session, meet everybody, and I was kind of feeling like almost like sickish, like my stomach was kind of hurting a little bit, stuff like that. So that was kind of like weird and concerning, but at the same time, I've had that feeling before where like my stomach hurt and stuff like that. And I had my best jumping days ever. So I was just like, it could either be a really bad jumping day or it could be a really good jumping day, but from how I've felt before. And so obviously everybody was warming up, stuff like that. This is the first time, or sorry, second time I took caffeine. So I took caffeine for the first time in Winona with Dylan, which was what was that back in September of last year or something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
don't even remember, but so I took caffeine there, and then obviously I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna take caffeine again this time because why not? And I had a white monster, so that had 100, I think that's 150, 160 milligrams. And so that was I was feeling like usually I feel pretty shaky, so that's why I don't like it or like don't really take it because I feel like too shaky and like I can't control it. And I actually felt really good. So um I was doing my ISOs and whatnot. I felt pretty good. My knees were like at like a 1 or 2 maybe, so like nothing crazy, but it was kind of concerning. But getting into it, I started doing warm-up jumps on the side hoops because everybody was using the main hoops for dunking already. Like people were already dunking, so I'm not gonna just go do my warm-up jumps while people are already dunking. So I went on the side hoops and like Dylan said, well, it was in the other podcast, the reaction, but we can basically tell if we're gonna have a good jumping day or not just by how we warm up and like how our warm up jumps feel. So I was at like a 50%, maybe like up to a 70% jump, and like I felt really, really good on the jump, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a really good day. And then obviously started doing warm up jumps, stuff like that, and I felt really, really good. Hit two warm up dunks, two handers really easily. And then my first 100% jump with a ball, I punched the crap out of a one-hander, bounced way before I landed. So that felt really good. And then um I think I did a pump reverse next. Yeah, pump reverse next. That was okay. It wasn't like I kind of felt off balance with that, but that was good. And then I got to the windmill. The first windmill I did, I was too far under the rim, so I didn't even like get close to dunking it at all. And then the second windmill I did, I punched the crap out of it. I'm pretty sure it's my best windmill I've ever hit in my entire life. Bounced again way before I even landed. Huge bang from the rim and stuff like that. And then everybody was like everybody was just like, yeah, he's gonna have a really good day, stuff like that. Like Isaiah, because I talked to Isaiah about how the week before I dunked really bad, and he's just like, I forget exactly what he says, but he's just like something about like, and you said that you were gonna jump bad or something like that. Like, what about you jumping bad today or something? But so that was kind of funny after my windmill, and then like I said, I was jumping. This is gonna be my highest jumpy day by far. I was feeling really good, and then on my first under both attempt, I hurt my posterior tib on the landing, so on my right foot, and it's on the inside le of the left side of the foot. That's where it is, posterior tib, right, basically underneath the ankle. I felt some pain in there, like a one, or I'd say probably like a two, maybe three-ish. And then I did two more jumps after that, and I felt more pain. So I'm like, I'm not gonna jump on this anymore. So I talked to John about it. He's like, "Can you do 1 foot?" I was just like, "I'll try it," basically. So I'd even warm up, like re-warm up my 1 foot, which I probably should have, but like obviously I was already warming up for 2 foot, but I probably should have done like a couple warm-up jumps, but I went straight into a one-hander. I punched it decently well. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. My knees didn't hurt at all after that. And usually the reason why I don't do 1 foot is because my knees usually hurt couple times after I do one foot because of my landings. They're all like all over the place. I'm landing on one foot, I'm leaning, whatever. So I felt really good with that. And I back rimmed a ton of East Bays, windmills, stuff like that. And then I ended up trying the win. Dylan, I don't know if did you tell me to do the win or did I just start doing it just randomly? I don't remember.
I mean, I've definitely told you in the past to do the
Yeah,
win. So I don't know if I can't remember if I did on this
yeah,
day, but like I actually I think I might have. I think I
you might
recommended it,
have.
but I don't know if you did it
Yeah,
like right away. I think right when you
I
told me you're gonna do one foot, I was just like, yeah, you gotta do the win today,
I think
something like
yeah,
that.
I think that's what it was. So I ended up doing the win. First one, just lost it on my hand, didn't even really get close. Second one, I actually got extremely close. I actually top rimmed it. I if there was like if the ball was a little bit less or a little bit more slick, or it was like a quarter of an inch lower, I would have hit it. So like very, very close on that one. And then on the third attempt, I ended up hitting it, which is the first time I've ever hit a win off a 1 foot before, which I think I've attempted it maybe five times beforehand before that day. So not a lot of attempts at all, and I never even got nearly as close as I did. Obviously for the Florida session, so that felt really good to hit. I got pretty hype about it. Everybody was kind of going crazy for it. Probably people weren't expecting it because again, they don't really see a lot of 1 foot from me just because of the knee pain that I get. So I don't really try to do it more. But and then after that, I just started going for like more crazy stuff like J Rich. I think I tried some a scoop, 360 scoop or 180 scoop, however you want to say it. Yeah, I think that's about it. And then I started getting a little bit of knee pain. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna cut it because there's no point of pushing knee pain. So that was kind of my session. Felt really good going into it. Probably would have been my highest jumping day. And they actually had the vert trainer there. So I think if I would have hit like under both or something like that, I would have went and tried to test. So,
Yeah, you probably
but
should have.
again, unfortunately, wasn't able to. So some other guys did test. I think RJ got like a 43 or 44-inch vertical, something like that. So that was pretty cool to see. And obviously he PR'd that. I think Artem tested too, but I don't know if he PR'd
I
or
think
would
he did
even touch or
actually. I think he
anything
did
like that.
40.
So yeah, 40.
I think that was a PR.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of my dunk experience, and then I started taking pictures of guys and stuff like that. So, but but yeah. So overall, I would say it was still a really good session for me. Because I punched a lot of my main dunks that I usually do. Felt really good. Obviously got hurt a little bit, and then when it switched to 1 foot, and even though I missed a lot of dunks off 1 foot, I was very, very close, and I was punching back rims like they were flying like to half court with some of the dunks. So, and obviously also hit the win as well. So I'm very happy for the session for what it was. Obviously, could have been better, but for what it was
Yeah,
and for what happened, I'm very happy for my session. So now
yeah,
Dylan
it's a
can get
W.
into his.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I like I said, I felt decent going into it. Um, I don't know. Basically, like my ritual when I walk into a gym is just walk in, measure the rim, do my ISOs, do my like dynamic warm up, then do my warm up jumps, then get going. And I kind of like delayed myself basically because I was like, I don't know, I wanted to measure the rim, but like I didn't want to be the person to do it basically, which I regret now. Um, so yeah, we did measure the rim at the start of the session. We measured it after the session. It was 9.9. The start of the session, it was definitely higher. We have like pictures that show the change of the hoop's height or whatever, but unfortunately just didn't measure it before the session. But at the same time, kind of a good thing because then probably wouldn't have measured it after and we would have known that it lowered. So not the worst thing ever. Yeah, only reason I mentioned that is because not many people have mentioned it on like social media or whatever. So I just want to be transparent. But yeah, that was the rim height. I mean, do what you will with that information. It's kind of a weird situation. I've never had that happen to a hoop before. But anyways, so I kind of delayed myself a little bit. So I got warm a little bit later than I would have liked to. I would wish I would have had a little bit more time in the session. But once I did get warm, like Hunter was saying, if your warm ups feel good, your session's gonna feel good. So my first few warm up dunks were really good. Um, I mean, they weren't like really good, but they felt good, like in comparison to what my average warm up dunks feel like, which is a good sign, obviously. So that was good. And then worked up to a windmill. Windmill was really good. Did a pump reverse, 360 windmill. Um, tried some hide and seeks early in the session. None of them were really that close. Just, technique has to be perfect for that one. Hit it later, obviously. I'll talk about that in a minute. Hit an East Bay. Was a really good East Bay. Kind of dunked it on like the side of the rim, so it was a weird finish, but it kind of made it look cool. And then I was trying some behind the backs, stuff like that. Couldn't go down for whatever reason. And then I started trying under both. I wish I would have spent less time on under both, but at the same time, I don't. I like kind of made one. It was like a rim grazer. You can go watch it and decide for yourself. But it was okay. Happy that it went in the hoop at least. I think if I wouldn't have walked for those 3 days or whatever, I would have punched one easily for sure. Probably would have had, a lot crazier of a session than I did, but at the same time, like fun week, can't really complain. So good session anyways. I don't know. After that, like I didn't really hit much. I got close to a 360 scoop, hit like a cuff 360 scoop looking thing. I don't even know what its proper name is. It was kind of weird. It was not clean either. And then right as like John was like calling everyone in to like play 5v5, I just like smashed a hide and seek. Like it was insane punch. At that time the rim was like definitely 9-9. Like it was it was not in between at all. So not, you know, not my coolest hide and seek because of that, but it was a good one. So overall, I mean, I did. Oh, then we played basketball, 5v5 basketball. I had a lot of fun. I hit like three dunks or something like that in the game. One of them was just a one-hander, one of them was a 360, and then I did like a windmill on Nate, which was kind of hilarious. But he just let it happen, so it's not like that crazy or anything. But it was fun. Haven't played basketball in a while, and playing basketball with guys who have like the same goals as you. I talked about this in a YouTube video, but I'm just gonna say it again. Is like very fun because a lot of times that I play basketball now, it's with people who don't have any care in the world about getting hurt or hurting other people. So like just playing with guys that are literally their only reason that they're playing is to get dunks and not get hurt was fun. Obviously we didn't really try to play defense at all or anything, but we were dead at that point. So it was a lot of fun. Um, Overall, the session for me, I would say was good. I think it could have been better. Um, Walking was obviously kind of my downfall there. I think I could have easily hit under both behind the back. Um, I don't know, some new dunks for sure, but at the same time, like can't really complain. The my like only regret from this session is not measuring the rim before it. That's literally it. Like dunking wise, I don't think it could have gone too much better unless I was jumping higher, which would have been a result of walking less. So I mean, not too much to it. As for the other guys, we can kind of talk about the other guys now.
Yeah,
I
that's what I was about to
think
say.
Isaiah Rivera, obviously I've seen him dunk before, probably 4 times now. Dunk him 22, 23, and then 2 times in 24. So that's always fun to watch him dunk. He was obviously the one that I was most excited to see going into it. And I would say he did really good, I'd say. I mean, I wish he
Yeah,
would have hit 360 behind between, and he spent a lot of time on that. If he wouldn't have spent a lot of time on that, it would have just like gone for like try to hit as much dunks as possible. I think that would have been insane. But can't really complain because getting to see someone back him a 360 behind between is
multiple times at that too. Not even
yeah.
one time, like multiple times.
And he hit a 360
Um,
on both, which was insane. His
360
uh
BTB.
his 360 BTV was cool. The three or it's like a 180 slash 360 like 360 reverse between legs off the backboard. Super cool dunk. I don't think I've seen that one in person, and it's probably my favorite dunk that he does like semi consistently, we'll say.
Yeah, and
And
that's
then his height
the with
check
his
was
left
crazy.
hand too. So
Yeah.
left hand's even
Yeah.
crazier. And then yeah, I was about to say his height check was absolutely insane too. So that was really
Yeah.
fun to see. And
The
I
rest of
mean,
his dunks that were good, I'd just say like one-hander windmill East Bay, like punched all of them.
yeah,
But again, he spent a lot of time going for 360 behind between, so I'm sure he could have hit a lot more stuff if he didn't spend so much time on that. But again,
yeah,
can't complain about getting to watch that. Um, Austin Berkey, we talked about it a bit in the last one, but he did really good, and it was super cool to see him do good after like, not doing too great for a while. Hit between the legs off one, inverter. I mean, I don't really know what else, but he's jumping high off 2 foot as well, so that was cool to see.
yeah.
Josh, um, Josh went
Ruble,
off behind the back, close windmill elbow, didn't quite get it. J Rich
East
did a
Bay.
lot of one-handers. He didn't do East Bay.
Did he not? I thought he
No,
did
he
with.
didn't. No, he didn't. It
I
was his
thought he
highest
did left
jumping
hand
day,
East Bay.
but no, he didn't. He tried it.
Oh,
Um, I would definitely say it's his best jumping day ever, but to be honest, like the session he had with us in Wisconsin was low key better, like dunks wise, to be honest.
I don't know.
It's arguable, but
Yeah, I mean for one-handers and
just
stuff
because he
like
hit
that,
like
I
four
mean,
East Bays
dude,
or whatever. But
yeah, he hit like three or four different East Bay
yeah, he definitely jumped
variations
high
that
this
day,
day.
but just to see him jump that high and punch a
Yeah, it
lot
was
of
cool.
dunks, it was really, really fun to watch. So, and obviously it was his highest jumping day, so that's why I think it could be argued
Mm,
to be his best. I think it's
definitely.
personally the best, but yeah, I mean he was punching everything. I mean, even his
Oh, that
warm-up jumps were
reminds me
like jumping
actually.
high.
I had
So,
a I had a elbow. I forgot to mention that earlier.
yeah,
But that was probably my favorite dunk I did on the day, honestly.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
go
I
ahead,
would say also, yeah, so Josh was good. And then people that surprised me were Davis for sure. Davis definitely surprised me.
bro.
Artem had some pretty
It's
crazy
crazy.
dunks, punching some dunks. And then another person, unfortunately, kind of got hurt as well, Cam. But I mean,
Hmm.
the dunks that he was doing surprised me. Just the style that he has for 1 foot and just the way he dunks off of 1 foot was pretty fun to watch. So like he was another person that surprised me, but obviously got hurt, so couldn't do
Yeah,
much.
dude. I
But
wish we could have seen him have like a full
yeah.
session there.
And then RJ, that was so fun to watch him jump that high, punch everything. I mean, from the last time that I saw him was last year in Florida. He was barely dunk. He like barely did any dunks. He was not jumping that high at all. Barely punching stuff. Like I said, that session kind of like a lot of people did not do very well. And then obviously this session, a ton of people did very well.
Hmm.
So like the main three, Isaiah,
Yeah,
Austin, and RJ all did terrible that session that I was at, and then this session they did really, really well. So it was really, really fun to see that version of them at first, and then the version that we saw obviously this session. So it was really cool to see that.
yeah. Another
Um,
one was Espinoza, Isaiah
yeah,
Espinoza. I didn't know he was coming until like a week before. I think I heard it on their
yeah,
podcast or
same.
something. But obviously he's kind of, quote unquote, came out of nowhere. Won the dunk camp vert contest, testing 50, which was absolutely crazy. I think his flight time was like a second too, which is absolutely wild. So he came out and I don't know. I feel like he probably did better in LA the other week, but like
Yeah,
just seeing him jump is insane. He still hit like
yeah,
some crazy
dude,
windmills and
that
East
that
Bays and
East Bay
stuff.
was insane though.
Yeah, that was insane
Um,
East Bay.
And then some
And
of
some
the
good
dunks
in-game
that he
dunks
had
too.
at the end, where he was like going for like
Yeah.
distance and like trying to thrunk them, those were insane. I have an insane picture from that.
Yeah,
Actually, I
no,
want to
that
see if
one's
I can
wild.
find it. I want to see if I can find it
Yeah,
because
I'll just talk
that
about
was
the next
insane.
person. But I mean, like we said, RJ did crazy. Dom unfortunately was like kind of hurt or whatever. His knee was messed up, but he was jumping good in like his very first warm-up jump. So I wish we could have seen him go all out there. But yeah,
All right, I don't know. Yeah, you guys can see this. That's obviously angled. I mean, I'm holding it up, and also he's jumping really, really far away, but
yeah,
still, that is
yeah. It looks
insane to
crazy. It
see.
looks it looks fake, bro.
It does. It
It
literally
looks
looks
totally
like he
fake.
was. I think his penultimate step was behind the 3-point line. Like I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I think I do remember seeing that.
And
That's
with
crazy.
this too, I think his because he's a right left plant. His right foot, I think, planted like a foot in front of the free throw line, or like 2 feet in front of the free throw line.
Yeah,
So like
crazy.
almost back foot east or off free throw, and then he was trying to just basically thrunk that. He did a bunch of those dunks, stuff like that. So that was really, really cool to see. But yeah, he jumps freaking high, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Another one that surprised me was Vic. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't
Vic
know how
too.
big he is. I heard someone say 250 at one point. I don't know if I believe that, but like he's just huge, bro. Completely like jacked and everything. And I did not expect him to just be flying.
How
And like
tall
his
is he, do
first
you
dunk,
think? Was he 6'1", 6'2", maybe?
6'1" to 6'3". I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
like his first dunk just comes out, does a windmill, punches it, and I just did not expect that at all, bro.
yeah.
I didn't follow him before that. It's two, which
I,
wild to me.
I
But
did, but like I said, unfortunately, I didn't know that he was coming, and then also I didn't know that was him. Because like a lot of time, like with social media, you'd only see them dunking and almost basically see the back of them because you don't see their face because they're usually the when they're recording. They're okay, bro. When you're recording towards the rim, and obviously all the dunks that they're doing are they're towards the rim as well. So like you don't get to see their face really at all. So like I didn't realize that was him at first, and then so it was kind of unfortunate I didn't get to talk to him, but yeah, still really fun to watch him. And like you said, that kind of it surprised me too. A lot of the windmills that he had, one-handers, stuff like that. So but I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that was like
yeah, I mean,
crazy
generally,
or
it was
like
just really
surprised me or
cool
anything
to
like that.
see all
But
those guys again. Don't see I mean, obviously met a few of them for the first time, but saw a lot of them before, and a lot of them did very well. So it was a very cool session to be at and just witness. Floor was great, hoop was great. The only
Lighting
thing
was
is like
great.
I cannot believe it like slid down like that. If it didn't slide down, it would have literally been the perfect rim. But yeah, I mean, I could have done better. Hunter probably could have done better, but
No, I definitely would have done better,
oh
but I
yeah,
got
totally.
hurt.
Yeah, so I mean, it's still fun though, just to be at
Oh
these
yeah,
group sessions.
100%.
And it totally goes to show like what Hunter mentioned earlier about like doing horrible the week before or whatever. Like all it really takes is having a group session or having some adrenaline.
Yeah.
So like, if you're currently in a slump like what Austin was or what Hunter has been in the past, like just remember like all it takes is one session, dude. So just
But
don't
also
just
with
don't
that,
yeah, think about it too much.
I was talking to Isaiah about it too, or like I don't know if there's other people there, but he talked about he's like, I don't define you as a dunker, unless it's like a group session or like a adrenaline setting, because that's majority of what's going to happen when you're
Yeah, I
in
like that.
contests, shows, stuff like that. Anybody's going to be terrible when you are in an empty gym or empty park, whatever, with nobody there, no adrenaline, no caffeine, no nothing. You're obviously not going to perform as well if you have a huge crowd, caffeine, you have a ton of caffeine, a ton of adrenaline, bunch of people there. Like, it obviously makes sense, but I never really thought of it that way. So, like, obviously now I'm going to go into a lot of these more solo sessions a little bit differently and stuff like that. But obviously it
Yeah.
sucks to dunk bad, but at the same time it's just like it does make sense. Like a lot of these things that like being a pro dunker, a lot of those like contests and shows, they're gonna have a ton of adrenaline. You're gonna be jumping your absolute highest because of that. Obviously, if you're injured or whatever, there's obviously restrictions there. But majority of the time, if you're fresh and everything like that, even if you're a little bit fatigued, you're still gonna jump extremely high from what you're probably normally used to in a solo session or even sometimes a group session. Like sometimes it just doesn't work out. But I like that he said that just because again, it's obviously he's been there. He is one of the top dunkers in the world, so he understands all that stuff, and so it's just kind of cool to explain that and stuff like that. And just again, I talked to him a bunch about different stuff, Austin, John, stuff like that. So it's just cool and fun to be around people that obviously love this, and obviously they're doing it for a living as well, so they know a lot of insight and stuff like that. But just being around a lot of like-minded people in a session and just like hanging out and stuff like that, it's just a really fun time. So obviously we're there for mostly for the session. Um, but like I had so much fun from outside of the session as well. Like we all went to dinner. That was really, really fun to talk to a bunch of people. I talked to Danny about a bunch of um camera stuff and whatnot. So that was really cool to talk about. And then the other days we went to the beach and stuff like that. So like there's a lot more to it than just what happened at the session. And I could argue that it was like obviously the session was really fun, but I could kind of argue sometimes that like hanging out is better than the dunk session itself sometimes. Eh, I mean, like conversation wise, I'm saying like conversations go a long
Yeah.
way too. So, but like again, it's just really, really fun to be able to dunk with a lot of like a group session like that is probably my favorite thing ever. Like obviously there's sometimes that can be like too much. But like I felt like it wasn't too much for that session. Like everybody was going pretty quickly. Like it was flowing really well. So like it wasn't like where there was like nobody got a chance to dunk or anything like that. So like everybody I think got a fair chance, and whenever they were ready they could just go. Like there wasn't like any restrictions or anything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool too. But
Yeah. I mean, and going back to what he was talking about with like you're not defined by like your solo sessions basically. That just goes to prove, the point that I made with Travis like last podcast, which is that if you're in a solo session, it does not need to be your best session of all time. This is something that I get caught up in so often is like, I've missed like four respays in a row and yet I'm still gonna keep trying them. Where it's like now I've realized like it doesn't matter if I espay today. Like it literally doesn't matter at all. Like I know how to do a between legs dunk. There's no reason for me to be wasting time on it. And so just like I think me and Hunter too, like we get way too caught up in like basically like a routine during a dunk session. Like I can name Hunter's like routine dunks that like he starts off every session with. Like it was funny during the session before like while Hunter was running up to do his dunk or whatever, I called it out. I was like reverse pump, and Davis was like, "You know him so well," and I'm like, "Nah, like we just we just do the same thing every day, bro."
Yeah,
So I think that's something that I definitely get caught up too often in is like every session go in, do the exact same thing, and then go out, and then I'm like, "Oh, that wasn't a good session." And it's like in a way I'm right because even if, let's just say my best session ever, like Winona, I did generally follow like my whatever it is, like forget the word, but like
routine.
yeah, like the routine that I do during a session, but I just hit everything, right? Like I made everything. So then I got to do like more stuff. But when I think far too often that like I like rely on that and like think like, oh, today is gonna be the exact same. Like I'm just gonna hit every single dunk. But then it's like when you don't hit every single dunk, especially first try, it's very demotivating. You start to just get pissed off and keep missing the same dunk over and over, and it's wasting your time. It's wasting your time. And so, like the session I had the other day was horrible, but I realized it was going to be horrible. And so I immediately just started trying new things and like hit a new dunk 360 whirlwind. And I
Yeah.
would not have hit that dunk if I would have just been like windmill, miss, and then eventually like squeak in a windmill and just be like, all right, time to East Bay now. Like I would have gotten nowhere. So on your solo sessions, like he said, they don't define you, but make the most of them. Like go out and try to like make the most of your time. Don't just go and do the same thing that you would do in your best session ever. When you get to your best session ever, then that's when you can like go through and try to hit all your dunks. Um, so yeah, work on new stuff. That's my main takeaway from that.
Yeah, and to go along with that too, like back, I don't even know time frame, but like at East Bay almost used to be like a warm up dunk for me. Like I would be hitting it every single session, first, second try, something like that. And I got to a point where like I was barely even hitting it, if not hitting it at all in the session. And like I was just like, oh, this is a terrible session. This is a terrible session. So it's like I've always like he said, we get caught up in having this routine that we do of like having those dunks, and then that's what like defines a bad session if we don't hit our routine dunks, which like at the same time you can say that, but it's like why? Because like you could
Well, it
still have
is
a
it
really
is
good
a bad
session.
session. Like we
Yeah,
both agree that it
100%.
is a bad session, but it's just not that like you can't make progress during those sessions. Like those are
Yeah,
the
like he
perfect
said,
sessions to go
to
work on new
do
stuff. That's
stuff.
all I was
Yeah.
saying.
Like you could even have a still really, really good session. Even if you don't hit your new or your routine dunks, you could go hit new dunks and still have a good session because again, a new dunk is still a really, really good thing. Like that's an amazing feeling to hit a new dunk. Like that's just always something to be proud of is to hit something new. So even if you hit something new, like it's still a good session because again, you're doing something you've never done before. And like that's an accomplishment. So it doesn't matter how difficult or like it doesn't have to be like the most difficult dunk either. It could be something so simple. Like I still haven't even hit a Dwight tap before.
I was
And
just gonna say that.
like that's a fairly easy dunk. Like you don't need a that high
Yeah.
of a vertical for it, but again, I just don't try it because I'm going for other harder things. But like
Dwight
if I
Tap
hit
is
that in a
basically a
new session,
one-hander.
like, huh?
The Dwight Tap is basically a one-hander.
Almost.
There's nothing
Yeah.
to it, bro. It's so easy.
But like if I hit that, it's like I'll still be like, yeah, that was a pretty good session because I hit a new dunk. So like I
Hmm.
think getting caught up in like the actual like what you're doing in dunking, I obviously like you want to know and like feel good about dunking, but like sometimes it's just like getting reps. It's like it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're getting high quality reps, that's what matters. Like
Exactly.
um if you're jumping, you're jumping. Like the best thing to do to get better at jumping is jumping. So or dunking, whatever it is. Like it's
Yep.
still good reps and stuff like that. Like yes, there are some things that like might like be bad and not beneficial. Like if you're going for dunks that you're not even close on getting, like that's not very beneficial because what are you getting out of that? Like you're not too close to dunking it. Um and like you're not getting any like good reps with that because like again, you could go on a lower rim and hit those dunks and feel better about it. Um and like you have all like we said, we could go for new dunks or whatever it may be, but just like basically
Yeah.
find something in that session that you're able to do. Either have your consistent routine dunks, go for new dunks. For having a really bad session, I mean, I guess just keep jumping. Like I don't really know. Like I was just basically going for one handers the session before Florida, just because I wasn't jumping high at all. So like yeah, I could have lowered the rim a little bit, but again, I didn't want to lower it too much because I want to be prepared for Florida. So that's why I kind of didn't go to like to a necessarily a low rim session, but
Yeah.
just find some way to progress through,
Exactly.
regardless of how you're jumping, how your session's going, whatever. Just find a way that you can get better at. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Just find
Yeah,
something.
well said. I mean, we just got completely off topic there. We're gonna have to do like a
Yeah.
full episode on that because I think that that's like a really valuable thing to talk about, and I'll cut it off after this point. But not to call anyone out, but I would say I was gonna say the majority, but more like 99% of dunkers have dunks that they could do at their current vertical and they simply haven't hit yet. And it's just simply a reps problem. Like, actually, I will call someone out. I'll call Justin Blanchard out. That dude, like, he jumps 40 plus inches. He's 6'3" ish. And, like, I'm only calling him out because he's starting to do it now. And it's super cool to see. When I first started dunking with him, his entire bag was like one-hander, two-hander windmill. And throughout dunking with me, I, like, basically had to force him to, like, try new stuff. And now, just like yesterday, or no, yeah, yesterday he hit his first East Bay, and so it's like there you go, like, and he was not close to that at all. Like his attempts a year ago were laughable. Like he was not even getting the ball to the net. So it just goes to show like he's not jumping that much higher than he was last year, just because he's been busy with a bunch of stuff or whatever. But yet he's East Baying now. So like dedicate a session to working on your East Bay. Or another dunk he hit was a 360. 360 should be easy for him, and yet it wasn't. And he was very bad at them. And now, all of a sudden, he can 360 easily, first try, every single session. So, again, there's dunks that you can do, guarantee it. You just got to work on them. Going back to the session, I mean, like we said, everyone went off. Um, top three, dunks wise. Go.
That
Isaiah's
like
obviously one.
somebody, yeah, like top three dunks that were hit, or like top three dunkers in the session.
Just dunkers.
Obviously Isaiah. Um,
Two is hard.
I yeah, it's like a toss up between like three different people. I would say
I'm taking me, not gonna lie.
I was gonna say you, Austin, and Josh are like up there as well.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, any of those three are valid, but
yeah,
hide and seek under both East Bay elbow. I mean, Josh did hit really good behind the back and really good J Rich. But, if we're going just dunks wise and not like jump height wise, then yeah. I mean, Austin did hit between legs and inverter. So
yeah,
there's an argument, but that's just like two dunks. So uh
yeah. I don't know.
say
It's
what you
kind
will,
of
I'm going me.
yeah. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me, but I would say like those are all up there. But yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I mean,
If
RJ
you
obviously, but he was punching
You just did
everything. So
one-handers, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, if you didn't watch the session, then it would be hard because like I haven't really posted anything. But go watch the session. Let us know what you think. I mean, that's really all I got. I mean, like we said, it was a really good session, really fun to see all those guys, really fun to all have, all those guys in the gym together. Crazy, you know. I'd say it went really well. I'm pretty happy with how I did. I know Hunter could have done better with the injury, but he made the most of it, hit a new dunk, and it's a pretty significant dunk as well. So that's really cool to see, obviously. Um, yeah. Got anything to add?
I don't think so. No. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just really fun. So hopefully we can get more in the future.
definitely.
I mean, we're talking with like Isaiah and stuff like that, and we're trying to make this more than like a because obviously we did this for the first time last year. It was like a THP camp type thing. But we want to get like more like Florida sessions like this, like more than once a year. Just
Oh,
again because
cool, yeah.
it's just so fun and like obviously Florida's a great place to have it. Very warm, very nice weather. But then also there's just a ton of people in Florida too. So and it's just a nice place to be at. Like a lot of people can just are just like, yeah, I'll go to Florida. Like why not? Why would I not go to Florida? Like it's just a great place to be at, and there's just a lot of good rims and good dunkers there. So it's just all around just really good. So hopefully those can happen more than
Yeah,
just once. But I mean, I think it's gonna happen at least once every single time, every single year. So
it's cool. Yeah, guys, I mean, stay tuned for more group sessions. Let us know if you want us to react to anything. We just dropped a reaction video to this session we just talked about, so make sure to go check that out if you haven't. Yeah, if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave a comment, leave a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, whatever you're watching on. Do something to help us grow. And yeah, follow the Instagram, Dunk Talks, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace
peace.
out.